My voice is loud and clear.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. Let's get started then. Yesterday, we started the define phase. Let's have a quick look at what we have covered yesterday, and then we'll be able to connect with what we are going to cover up today. So we soon will be getting into data, the analysis part, the project management stuff is almost about to get over. So, but all in all, uh, that's the foundation to get a project. It's very important to do all this stuff we have done here. So all in all, first thing first, we go by the schedule while we look at it. We have to first collect the voice of customer. If I look at the roadmap, let's kind of have a look at roadmap. That'll be good. So typically how a project will get started. So VOC, voice of customer, has to be collected. So you speak with various stakeholders, collect information from various sources. Now, with that feedback, complaints, and suggestions, you need to clean that data using affinity diagram. You create a group of similar ideas, remove the duplicate ones. Now you have a refined list. Now, what you do with that list, you select a project based on the project need, like the organization stakeholders will decide what are the key criteria basis which the project needs to be evaluated and selected. And there are a lot of critical parameters. We call it, like we have different names. We call it a CTQ, which is critical to quality, critical to cost, critical to process, critical to safety, critical to delivery, and critical to like a lot of factors. Well, whatever is important, it's critical to that. Bottom line, we just cannot decide a project keeping one criteria in mind. One dimensional objective will lead to a big blunder because nothing happens in an organization in silo or vacuum. It is always an ecosystem. Everything is dependent or interdependent on each other. There's some sort of impact. So you have to look at an overall picture to find the right project for us. And that's why multi-criteria is the best option to select a project here. Once a project has been selected, we have to translate that into a CTQ, which is how are you going to measure it, which is the data. What data will you be collecting for that? Say if you have to do the delivery time reduction, so I can have, say, delivery time in minutes, seconds, days, whatever. But bottom line, data. What data? In number of days, delivery time, or the minutes? That has to be understood. That has to be what data would you be collecting? So if I'm talking about reducing cost, we'll have to have the clarity what data is going to be collected. That's my CTQ. And I create a tree diagram to explain what that means. Then comes your project charter. So we talked about project charter, what all components to keep in mind. And once your project charter is approved, you are officially appointed as a project manager. That's when you start with your journey of adding more people to the project. And then you prepare certain tools which will be required during the project. So you prepare a communication plan so that every communication that my team does, we are able to plan it. Things should not happen on an unplanned way. So all communications, verbal, written, or virtual communication has to be planned and executed as per the plan. Similarly, we'll give roles and responsibilities to people so that people know who is going to do what job. We did race it till yesterday. So for a few more topics, just we got to keep in mind. Right now, we'll be working on SIPOC, which is a high-level process map where we create in the define phase. And ideally, there is one more tool which is created, which is called FMEA. We will not be covering up this tool right now because ideally, this is a real project, how it works. But if you talk about a syllabus or wherever it's FMEA is about risk management. It's written, it's explained, it's done everything in improve phase. In improve phase, people design and develop, like talking about the way content is designed and developed. We will also be studying in improve phase. But in real project, you create FMEA in the define phase itself. Well, this is how the difference between theory and practical comes into picture. The topic of FMEA will show up here. This is where primarily if we talk about FMEA, it is all going to show up here, FMEA. That's where here. But in real project, you create it in the beginning itself. Why? Because it's about risk management. Risk has already started. Well, project started, risk started. What if you have picked up wrong people? What if the person you have picked up as your resources, somebody stopped coming or they leave organization? Risk has started. So you will tend to develop the FMEA in the define phase, and you update in measure phase, you update in analyze phase, and then in improve phase, genuinely it will become a very big document because you have a lot of action plans. And the action plans, the strategies that you want to implement, that can fail. So securing your action plans, your strategies will be done through FMEA. So that's why it's discussed in FMEA in the improve phase. But again, when you know the tool, when you know how it's done, you will in real project, you're ideally supposed to create it in the define phase itself. And it will get updated in every phase. Every phase, as you move from one phase to another, it will continue to get updated. So we'll talk about FMEA at a later stage, but good to know how and where it gets created here. This DMAC is a Six Sigma framework. When we talk about lean, it's a never-ending activity. So this will continue to go on and on. So you might have some people allocated towards the lean implementation. They'll continue to go on because your Six Sigma will take some time to show the results. Define phase, are you making any change with the process? No. Measure phase, are you making any change with the process? No. Measure phase, I'm collecting data, finding out whether data is good or not. And then accordingly, I'm finding Sigma level of the process. That's it. Measuring the performance, measuring how bad it is. That's it. In analyze phase, you're trying to do root cause analysis. You're not improving it. In improve phase is when you start making changes and strategies. So your project will start seeing the changes in the process in the improve phase if you go by Six Sigma. But can I let my process suffer till improve phase? No, thank you. We have lean. Lean working parallelly all throughout. So it's working out all this. But because Six Sigma is any which is going to end in control phase, not the lean. So lean is an ongoing activity. You might dedicate some people. They'll do the waste identification. They'll continue to do this job. It'll continue to support Six Sigma. It's a parallel activity which will continue to work throughout the project and even after the project gets over. So all in all, and that's pretty much once we complete this journey, we will have a review meeting with the management, with the champion, and pretty much we're done with the define phase. So far, if I talk about what is left over from our define phase, in terms of closing the define phase, is a SIPOC, which is a high-level process map. And right after this, ideally, you will be creating FMEA also. But for now, we'll just skip it for a moment because we will cover FMEA in the improve phase. The real project, please follow the roadmap. This is how, these are the tools you create. So this is also going to be, we create it here. What we will discuss is this in improve phase, because that's where it becomes a huge, massive document. Let me show you improve. This is a massive doc, and it's a pretty good one. It's very important to work, and this FMEA document we'll discuss in detail because it's related to your actions and your process. Have a look at FMEA. This is not the actual template I'm looking for. I'll be sharing it. See, things have changed when I've got, so I'll share the FMEA, the template and all. I'll show you how it, so there's a proper framework which is there, which is what we use to kind of, and the standard way of how do you perform the risk mitigation is what we'll be working on. But all in all, for now, we will be covering up this, the SIPOC, which is high level process map. Isn't this similar to the project charter where all project aspects are developed? Okay, project charter is just about telling you what needs to, what is that project will be doing. Now we're going to the, so project charter has been approved, and that's how you are starting with all these activities. So project charter got approved, and that's how your project has taken up from here. Actually, the project has started from, project charter was high level description. Now exactly you sort of, you are creating a communication plan. That was not a project charter. You create the giving roles and responsibility. So this is happening thereafter. So all these things are getting created because this is what you would need throughout the project. So these are additional documents you're creating, and that will help us in the entire project. So, well, quickly, let's talk about SIPOC. What is SIPOC? It's a high level. It's a high level process map. It's not supposed to be detailed. Please, no, well, don't make a detailed one. It's not supposed to be detailed. Okay, it's a high-level process map. What does the SIPOC stand for? S for supplier, I for input, P for process, O for output, and C for customer. Let's understand the acronym SIPOC. What does it stand for? Who is what we call a supplier? So supplier is the one who provides input or works on the process. Customer is the one who uses output or basically is beneficiary. Who's beneficiary of the output, who's going to use output is going to be called as customer. Let's take a quick example to understand the SIPOC framework here. Please keep this in mind. It's a high level snapshot of your process where you will be implementing Lean Six Sigma. High level it just gives you an idea. So we try to create one just to give an example. Please keep this in mind. We're not making a detail, only major steps are covered. So while you're documenting SIPOC, please keep one thing in mind. We always write down the process first in maximum 5 to 6 steps. That's it. Not detailed one, just a minor, like a high level. So I will start with process here. So procure RM, which is, I'm using RM for raw material, please. So I'm using a code here, like a abbreviation, RM for raw material. So procure the raw material, that's a process. Like, so we start the procurement of raw material. When it's available, we do the production. When the production gets over, we do the quality testing. Quality testing gets over, we do the packaging. And after packaging is done, the logistics team comes in. The logistics part will be taken care of. So from the beginning till, like, from the inception till the end, like, pretty much we have mapped our process. My process project will be working in this area. It will start from here till here. So this is entire end-to-end process. We start from the procurement of raw material till the dispatch. We are doing it. Now, big question is, why did you start the procurement process? What was the input? What was the reason for procurement? Well, customer demand. There was a customer demand, so we had to start the procurement process. What was the output? Output was raw material procured. You got the raw material. So there was a demand. So you started the procurement and you got the raw material. Now, output of one process will become input for the next one. Since you got raw material, so the production teams gets into action. Now, output of production team, finished goods. So they will do the manufacturing stuff, finished goods. Now, output of this process will become input for next. Now, the moment finished goods are available, quality team comes into action. Well, they will do audit. So some items will be good or bad. So we're just making high level. We're trying to go and keep it to the process, which is, say, quality tested, which is good items are created here. The bad ones will have another process. It's not supposed to be detailed. So we'll not write everything here. So quality tested items will go to the next process step for packaging. Now packaging, well, here we've got packed items. Items are packed. When items get packed, then it goes to next process for the logistics, and here it is shipped to customer. So high level process has been explained. Now big question is, who is my supplier? So supplier is the one who supplies the input. And who is this guy? Pretty much I can say the customer is the one who supplies the input. And it could be the raw material vendor also who is going to supply this input, the raw material. So my input here, I can have dual inputs. I can have one more input written here, which is raw material. That's input coming from the supplier, from the vendor, which is supplying the raw material. So I can have multiple inputs, multiple customers also. So all in all, so they have supplied the raw material. I get so supplier supplies the raw material input, because of which the process gets triggered. And then finally you have an output. Who is waiting for this output? Who is using this output? Production team. It's an internal customer. Within the organization, there is a customer, which is production team. They're waiting for the raw material. So their beneficiary of this raw material is the production team. They're going to use this output. So they are the customer within the organization, internal customer. Now this customer will become the supplier for the next process. They will be the one. So what they get, they will supply to the next process. They are the one who will be initiating. So they will become the supplier. But when they complete the production, the output is going to be consumed by the quality team. So they are the customers of production team. Now, quality team will become the supplier for the next stage. When they complete an output, their customers are the packaging team. So they're doing the job for the packaging team. Now, packaging team becomes a supplier for this logistics team. This will become the supplier here. And then we have finally the customer. It's initiated by the customer, ends at customer. It's a high level snapshot of how your process works and what are the different processes. So these are possible, when we talk about just more of a glimpse of what your process is going to be working on. So depending on what kind of industry, what kind of project you're working on, what kind of product, like a department you kind of created, you'll just kind of include major steps, how that process works. And that's all. You don't have to go and give a detailed view of your process because this is only for the consumption of management. When you go in for a review meeting with them, so you can give a glimpse out of your entire process. This is the area where my process is going to work on. So high level process map is going to get created. So Copis is reverse. Copis is reverse. Like so, SIPOC is from supply to customer. Copis is the reverse structure. So when we talk about Copis, how does it work? Like, let's see. So reverse mechanism, we use the term Copis as a feedback mechanism. Let's try to relate this way. Supplier, let me get this option 2. Okay, on annotate. Okay, 1. Let's see. Supplier supplies the input, because of which the process gets triggered. The process which gets triggered will create an output, and that is used by the customer. That's SIPOC. What is Copis? It's a reverse feedback mechanism. Now, the customer did not like the output. Well, there could be delayed delivery. It could be a delayed delivery. It could be the quality of output is not good, or there's something missing with this output. The customer is not happy. In the eyes of customer, there's a problem, some problem, quality, time, whatever it may be. The customer complains that I am not happy with output. So feedback, reverse feedback. The customer says, no, I'm not happy with this output. Well, what we do, what created the output? The process. So process needs to be blamed, which created the output. Well, why did the process happen? Because there was some input. Well, who supplied the input? We're trying to trace the culprit. Basically, where did it start from? So when you reverse the mechanism, it's a reverse feedback mechanism. So, well, if you want to trace where did the problem start from, again, you want to go back by Copis method. So it's a reverse feedback stuff. So customer complains about the output. What created output? The process. So process to be blamed. And if process is blamed, we need to know what were the inputs which created the process. So I find the input which is related to that, and then we'll see who supplied the input. So we are trying to trace the culprit here by doing the reverse. That will be Copis, reverse feedback. Is that clear, Giri? Reverse feedback mechanism is Copis. SIPOC is normal one. So we do create, so we can create a Copis also, the reverse one, if we are trying to create something like reverse feedback mechanism. Okay, perfect. So again, quick check with us, everyone. Is it okay and clear? The SIPOC high-level snapshot of your process. Wherever you're working, it's just going to be high-level. Don't make it detailed. It's not supposed to be detailed.
Yes.
Copis is also high-level. It's the same thing. SIPOC reverse it. It'll be Copis, but it also is high-level. Well, you can supplement an extra detailed process map. Yes, you can do that. But SIPOC is what is needed. Again, you can have a supplemental chart, which is about a complete detailed process map. That's fine, because your lean implementation will require a detailed process map, find out waste, where it is and all that. But for defined phase review, you just need this one, a quick snapshot for the leadership team to understand, because here you will have a toll gate review. Well, please keep this in mind. As I said, here we have a toll gate review for defined phase. But yes, one more tool gets created. So, well, just want to make a quick note of that. So there is an FMEA. So we will also be creating FMEA is also created in defined phase. And in each phase, it will keep getting updated. And yes, we'll come back and discuss this FMEA in the improved way. So we'll understand the template. It's a template and process, but very, very important, because this is the only document in the entire project which will never be marked close. Never. So your FMEA starts in defined phase. A project will get over in control phase. FMEA will not get over, because risk will never die. COVID happened. We controlled COVID. Did the COVID go anywhere? No. Risk has still, till the time this life exists on this planet, COVID is going to stay with us. Same risk can come back again, or risk can come in a different form. This alpha, beta, theta, gamma, whatever variants. So risk never dies. So FMEA was a risk management framework, which we started with the project. Project gets over, FMEA not. We will hand over the FMEA to the process owner that we handled your project. This is your FMEA, the risk management. Now you handle from this, because new risk will come in the future. Who knows? This COVID came from nowhere. So you can't say that I have handled all the risk, because whatever I knew, I have captured it, and I have a plan for it. But new risk, you never know what may come. Like this was a surprise. COVID was a surprise. So surprises are supposed to be coming. So yes, you never say that FMEA is over. Risk never dies. So we'll always have it as a live document even after project gets over. FMEA is very, very critical. So we'll spend more time on the FMEA, but in improved phase. But for now, these are the tasks we have to perform in this one. So for like one is from learning perspective. The theory will always say this way. Real project one, keep that in mind. So while you answering questions or you're doing a project, follow this entire process from define till control. I've documented everything, entire process end to end, how you should be doing it, what will be the tool, because this doesn't follow theory. Because I will be talking, we are going to learn control charts in control phase, like define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. Look at measure phase, start control charts. Not how live projects work. Real projects will work differently. Theory and practical are two different things. So, and there's a logical reason. So we'll talk about that. So theory, let's kind of come understand, but this process, this flow is going to tell you when to do what. Look at this, update FMA. Update FMA, update. So you continue to update FMA all throughout. Risk will keep getting updated, but control charts will start happening from here, and control charts will be maintained thereafter. So there are a lot of things which we learn in a certain way, but in real project it's executed in a different way. Well, logically, that's how it's supposed to be done. But all in all, that's what you do. And for define phase, closing the define phase, at this stage, we will have a review meeting with the champion, and the champion wants to know how did it go. Again, I have also written the questions of your review meeting. Whenever review meeting happens, standard questions in every phase. These are the questions. Are we on track? Are we on schedule? Are we working as per the budget? Well, who will give this answer? Business analyst. We're not the guys. So business analyst will give us the details about the schedule. Are we on track in terms of budget and all? Whatever, like what we had a objective in our mind. Do you think the goals are still feasible? Because at times, because while we were doing the project, some risk might have come into picture, and it's very difficult to continue with the project. So yes, they want to still see is whatever reasons, because whatever reason we had to start this project, do you think that's still feasible, or the needs have changed? Probably market dynamics might have changed. There's no point in doing this project. So they will try to evaluate at every stage that do you still think that the result that we want to achieve, is it still required? Is it still going to be useful? Probably I'm creating something which is no longer required. The market trend has changed. It's related to some AI thing has come into picture. Now I don't need to create it. So bottom line, they will try to understand whatever we wanted to achieve by doing this. Is it still feasible, worth enough to do this? And yes, if it's all good, then pretty much we want to know what were the hits and misses in the previous phase, whatever defined phase. Well, do you need any help from us? Because because champion is the project or the owner of the project. So champion wants to know, is there anything I can do for you to make things easier for you? So standard question in every phase. So primarily and the changes, if in case you've taken more time, well, the champion wants to know how and why, and accordingly you'll have justification, you'll adjust the timeline. So all in all, that's the standard like a questionnaire kind of thing, which will happen there. All in all, that's the standard for every project. You will see a similar kind of questioning happening. But keep this in mind before we get to measure phase activity. We'll just quickly talk about some basic elements related to your lean implementation, because your team will start lean stuff and it'll go on and on, will never end. So let's talk about these few things, and before we get into data part of it. First thing we always go ahead and do is lean implementation. We talk about 5S plus 1S. The old version was 5S. We have the extra S added, which makes it 6S. And let's talk about this first. 5S plus 1S, which is now 6S technically. It's the first lean tool to be implemented. Before you make a massive change, well, you want to make sure people are in right frame of mind. I may want to do a lot of things, but if people are not in right frame of mind, it can backfire. I don't want that to happen. So it's very important to condition the mind, prepare the mind of the people to be able to accept the change. So you have to prepare, and that's where 5S is the first tool always. First lean tool to be implemented always. What is this 5S? Anyone will help me out with what is 5S? I'm sure a lot of us must have implemented. You do handle 5S. In the meantime, while I'm getting these details, please, if you can, please pitch in.
1S is sort out, set in order, shining, standardization, assistant to follow 5S.
Perfect. Yes, let's kind of talk about them. So I'll share this image and all. Pretty neat image, like so. But again, we can talk through this. Let's see. Let's scroll, and we can talk about this. I'll share the files, but again, quickly talk about and document too. First thing, let's talk about this 6S now. Sort, set in order, We have shine, we have standardize, we have sustain, and we have safety. The extra S, the new S is safety. Let's talk with the first one. What is the sorting thing? Broad level, we'll go and look at the image later. First, talk about sorting. What is sorting here? Remove any unwanted item from your workplace. Well, it's simply the slogan with this 5 S's, like the first S is cut the clutter. Cut the clutter. We have too many things which we don't need. We have been accumulating them. But simple logic, let's understand before we get in details. Like I have my clothes in which I used to fit in 10 years ago. I love them. But somehow I have never been doing anything to get back in shape to be able to wear them, but I still have them. They are in my closet, hoping one fine day some miracle will happen. I'll be back in shape and I will start wearing them. Is it not stuffing up? Like it's all this while I have to go in my closet, pull that, find the cloth that I want to wear. I have to go through all that mess. Is it not utilizing space? Yes. Do I have to search from it? Does it not waste my time? Yes. But we human beings are accumulators. We add. We rarely discard things. We want, but what if we need it tomorrow? We keep. Like, look at your mobile phone. How many applications do you have? And how many applications do you use? Too many. Like, so we have too many things. Look at your laptops and desktops. Here. So many. I've seen a lot of people's desktop. It's all filled. Like there's nothing on. There's no extra space to keep anything out here. And trust, I've seen such laptops. Everything in the world is on the desktop. And that's what it is. You've got too many things. Simple law is get the junk out of your system. Out of your system. Well, it's slowing you down. Get the junk out of the system. So what simple logic of sorting is? Remove anything unwanted. So you must keep only those things which are required for your daily job. For your daily job. Rest, everything is obstruction. It's going to be an obstruction. So avoid, get out of it, get out of this mode of kind of adding. So you get the stuff out of it. So have a look at this image. So this is simple. The slogan here is get light. Simple as that. You have got too many things. Get light, get the junk out. Have a look at this image. That's what this lady is trying to do here. So trying to segregate and things which are not needed for current work. Well, we don't need it. We have not used it in 6 months. We'll not probably never need it. So you have been hoarding. You've been controlling things, keeping things. Probably somebody else might need it. But since you've been holding on to things and not letting it go, you're not using it, you're not giving it to somebody. So it says that, well, what do we do is we create an area or room, something like we call red tagging area. We put a red tag with the comments on that. What is it and all that? Well, everyone dumps the items which they don't need. So I can also go and pick up the items what probably somebody might have done. It could be good and useful for me. So that is one place we can have a room where people can dump those things which they are not using with a red tag on it and details on it. So, well, everyone dumps it, but we only keep things what is needed. But at least from the work area, that unnecessary, unwanted blockage is over. So it helps you to free up your space. It gets you like you have only items what you need to do your job without any hassle. Simple logic of sorting is like if you want to kind of finally nail it down, if you need to search for what you need sort. Because you don't need too many things. You need very limited things. If you need those limited things, you must know where they are. You don't have to search for what you need. Because you absolutely need very limited things. There's not too many. We just keep on piling up, and there are too many things out there. So all we have to do is get the junk out of the system. Now it says set in order. Now set in order is you must keep things in the right sequence. Right sequence, things which are frequently used should be close to you. Well, otherwise, the ones which are not frequently used, you can keep it at distance. So you don't have to do motion waste. Every time if I don't have to get up and get things which are frequently required, keep it close to you so you can get one arm distance, you can get it. So you don't have to do the motion waste here. Well, it simply says, it has a very powerful slogan. It says, everything has a place and everything in its place. That's a slogan which Set in Order goes with. Well, let's see an example of this lady and we'll see something more. It saves time. Be a little bit more disciplined. Have a demarcated area for everything. You can't keep anything anywhere. So have a designated area so people know where to keep what. You don't have to search because that's where I will find it. Have a dedicated area. And the best example of this is your toolkit. Amazing. One of the finest example is this toolkit. That's the best one. And honestly, this is the best one. Anything you see here in the market, that everything is all 5S compliant. There is a designated space. You can't keep anything anywhere. There's a designated space. If one thing is missing, you know exactly what is missing. You're not searching. You know where to keep what. And if something is missing, you know what. So it makes you a little bit more disciplined. You know what you're searching for, where you need to keep. Just being a little bit more careful about what you do and how you do it. So that's what you're supposed to do in Set in Order. Keep things in the right order and have a designated place for everything. Japanese are very, very particular about hygiene. Well, simply what the logic here is, well, it's everyone's responsibility to keep things clean, neat, hygienic. It's not just housekeeping job. So technically, we may have hired somebody to do the housekeeping, cleaning stuff, but does not give us the liberty or rights to spoil the area and just because somebody's been paid to do that job. It's bad. Japanese, yes, that's what I'm talking about. The Japanese people are like you. I'm sure we all know this one by default. These guys do have in the schools in the early days. The kids are responsible for cleaning their classrooms. The kids are responsible for cleaning the corridors. They do have a housekeeping department, but the classroom and the corridor is the responsible for the kids to clean it up because it's your work area. Well, they'd want to inculcate this behavior from the very beginning. I'm sure a lot of people would have seen FIFA World Cup after the soccer match. The match was over. It was the Japanese people who were seen picking up the bottles and everything, cleaning up the ground. Well, because they were not the ones spilling it out, but they have this is culture. Well, when they came to watch the soccer match, the stadium was amazing. When people had, there were other people also who were having the chips and cold drinks and whatever, and they had a great time, but then they did not realize while having a great time, they threw the bottle, the chips and all that, wrappers and everything. But and they went up, so technically these guys feel that we were also accountable. We did not spill it. We did not make it a mess, but did we use this space when it was great? Yes. That's my accountability also to keep it clean. So before, well, all these Japanese people were seen cleaning up the ground because that's what has been taught from them at the very beginning. So it's more about like a mindset. See, technically, if I talk about equipment and all in a workplace, if we keep equipment lubricated, shining, the life of the equipment will enhance. But if you don't keep equipments like shining and all, technically, if you don't lubricate them, don't shine them, it can get rusted. The life of that equipment will be less in that case. So shine pretty much goes without negotiation here because everyone wants to understand hygiene is non-negotiable. It has to be done. And Japanese are very, very particular about it. Having said that, standardized, you have to do it. Well, standardization is all about something like work instruction, SOPs, standard operating procedure, flowcharts, what else? FAQ sheets, frequently asked questions, troubleshooting guides, all those things which you create, troubleshooting guides, quality manuals. Bottom line, what we're doing is we are documenting the way things needs to be done. Now you hire a new person. You don't have to sit down and tell this guy let's hand over the document. This is how we do the job. Let this guy read it. The problem happens when you have a different way of interpretation. I have a different way of interpretation. We don't have a formal document. Then I will do things the way I think it's right, and you will do things the way you think it's right. And that's where we see a variation, discrepancy. When we have a common document, we refer to the document, we follow that as it is. Makes job easy for everyone. You go to any country, you know when to drive. When you're driving, green traffic light, you drive. Red traffic light, stop. You know it. You go to hospitals, you see different color bins. A certain color bin, for dry waste, wet waste. It's been standardized. Well, for example, if I open up a file here, so if I'm looking at this one, without looking at this, I know it's a schedule in this one, the batch 237. If I was here, I know there's a table of content here. I know there's a project roadmap. There's a day one content, day two content, but I don't know what's in sheet two. Why? I was not disciplined enough to give a proper name. That's where I lack standardization. Well, if I save a file, because I have to go to that sheet to see what's there. And if I save a file, generally Excel file, if I save a file, it gets saved as book one. If a file's like that with not a proper nomenclature, I have to open up each and every file to see what is in the file. And if I have to kind of name this file, I'll say, okay, let's Lean Six Sigma Black Belt. We have batch 237. And say this is what we have filed. And if we have updated it, let's call it version 1 or version 2, whatever it is. So that way I know which one is the latest file. Just 10 more seconds, little bit more discipline, but it will save so much of time. But if you have files which are without name, you can't search it, you have to open it, so much of time is wasted. So standardization could be as simple as labeling, color coding, file nomenclature. It's going to make job easy. Have a standard process, document it, and make sure people follow it. Well, most of the companies are able to do first 4S. Sustenance is a big problem. Well, it's simple, and that's why it's difficult. So, well, it's everyone's responsibility to follow 4S. The 4S we have talked about. Everyone should keep in mind, we have to sort it, set in order, shine, follow the standards, the way it's been documented. Everyone. It's accountability of management to ensure it's followed. So it's absolutely incredible. So everyone does it, everyone should do it. But again, well, what if they stop doing it? Yes, people will find a way not to do it also. So it's very important that it's a responsibility of management to ensure people follow this one. So yes, we should keep a couple of things in mind. A, audits. Audits has to be done. Audits will be planned audits and surprise audits. Well, I say planned audits, people should know, like, for example, we declare that last day of the month, like say 30th day of the month, we will have a 5S audit done. So we'll go to anyone's workstation and we will see, okay, do you have only the things which are required, or you kept unwanted things? Okay, you have all the things, only which is required. Great job. First S, done. Do you keep them things in the right order? I see, okay, you've done it in right order. Great job. Second S, done. Everything is clean, not messed up. Okay, perfect. You're following the standards. So we will go and audit. There's a particular day. So we have defined a planned date of audit. Management will audit. But trust, if it's on 30th day of the month, I can do it on 29th and clean up and be ready for the audit next day. So people should know it can't be just one day activity. So they can be surprise audit. Management can do also apart from this. Anytime, any day, somebody can come on my workstation and start asking questions. So we got to make sure it's followed. Yes, apart from that, make a big deal about it. Well, have a 5S dashboard. Make a big deal about it. Like explain, like so people like a best performer for 5S who has done a good job. Give some scoring. Bottom line, do that job. Well, part of daily meetings. Make it a part of performance appraisal. It's a part of your performance appraisal, salary increment. Make it a part of it. Make a big deal about it. Somebody is doing a great job. Publicize it. People should get excitement about doing a good job. They're getting appreciated by the management. That's what we got to do. Culture creation is what we got to do. So people start doing good things and people start getting appreciated. So we're just trying to condition the mind how you can work under a certain discipline. So we're trying to prepare your mindset. Okay, you got to do certain things in a certain disciplined way because this mindset will be required for your Lean Six Sigma. So that's what our job is. Coming to safety. Now, safety is the newest, like latest entrant here. Safety norms comes into picture. Here, ideally, we have the FMEA. Same thing, FMEA. Failure, modes, effects analysis. Modes and effects analysis. Risk management, right? So here, risk management has to be done. There will be risk management or risks, like we can create a steering committee. Well, we talk about steering committee, which will be responsible for handling risk or planning for the risk and taking actions and making strategies. So everyone knows this is a centralized team, and this team is responsible for taking care of all the risk factors and things. So we can have one person from every department be a part of that committee, so they can contribute to that pool of ideas and updating FMEA. So here we capture what? Failures, accidents. It's just not about, generally people talk about failures and accidents, but it's much more than that. Occupational hazard. Occupational hazard is a big, big problem. Like the kind of job we do, like if we are even an office worker, we're doing we're working on looking at laptop, desktop, continuously sitting for hours and hours. That's bad. It's hurting us in a big way. Our eyes, body structure, like everything is getting impacted. So occupational hazard is also a impact which has to be covered in this. It's not about even emotional part of it will be covered. The psychological part, safety, everything has to be taken into consideration. So big, big topic which have to the team has to look into. And if anyone finds any possible risk factor, they should know who to contact. There's a centralized team. Inform them, they will take action. So safety is a broad topic. Again, people generally talk about accidents, failures, safety. No, yes, it is. But it's just not that. It can include the emotional well-being also. It can include the sense of security also. It can include, do I feel safe at the workplace, and all those things. So it's a broad thing. Safety is just not accident. Generally, people will see about accident, but it's not just accident. It's everything in it, everything which can go wrong. So the team will be responsible for creating all that. So all that's a success that we have here. Quick check on this one, if it's okay and clear. That's 6S for you. Any questions that you may have, please pitch in. All right, then let's go and talk about one more tool, which is I won't call it as a tool. Sorry about that. I won't call it as a tool. Kaizen PDCA. Let's talk about first lean management. Whenever I say lean, I'll always say management. Example of occupational hazard, the kind of job you're doing. Well, sedentary worker sitting at a laptop, looking at those 4 hours, 10 hours call that we have constant calls with the client, and we're continuously staring at laptop. We're not moving. It is bad. Occupational hazard. We're looking at the system and we hurt. Is it not hurting our eyes? Yes. Is it not hurting our body posture? Doctors have been post this pandemic, the kind of job you're doing, it's a big, big problem. We're hurting our body posture. And it's irreparable. And the biggest asset to the company is the people. And they are somebody gets people having cervical pain and God knows what not, slip disc. It's all bad. Occupation, that's occupational. And again, I don't have your name here. It's Aviation Education Service. So these are the oil seepage, gas leak, and these would be more of the failures and accidents which are happening. But occupational hazard is about the job we do, the kind of job. Say people in textile industry, and talking about the textile industry, they have an occupational hazard of developing a disease called asthma. So your breathing problem, because if they are dealing with the textile part, there's the fragments, very would say, what do you call this? Whatever. There's some fragments which are very small pieces of the cloth or whatever. When they can't deal with it, those things kind of gets into the lungs, and the asthma, the breathing problems get. So that's an occupational hazard. The kind of job we do can lead to a problem. So that is also something we have to be looked into. So people do have it. People working glass industry also have the same problem, because the constant glass thing also comes into picture. Gas leak, absolutely. Gas leak with an accident here. Is any threat comes in everything. See, it's a broad topic. Safety is a broad topic. Anything and everything which can go wrong will be covered in the safety. And the team has to get better with time. Risk management. So FME is going to be a big, big document. It's a very, very important document to deal with. So what may go wrong? That's what we want. So here, anything, whatever we talk about, everything is what may, simple logic is here, what may go wrong. And Technically, I don't know what's the definition. Everything will come into picture, everything, because I need to safeguard process here. You have to do that. Now, quick one, coming back to changes in your eye vision due to yeah, absolutely, yes. Amit, you're right about that. That is a lot of people have suffered because of this post-pandemic, looking at this laptops and desktop. People have like their eyes, whatever, the screen time, the vision has changed. This you have to get a better spectacle or probably this ultraviolet stuff. Now you have to do it because it's hurting. You're spending a lot of time on like kids have a problem, a lot of problem with this. See, you can see we may put that as a department to QHSE department, but again, ideally we create a separate committee, a steering committee, which has one representative from every department, so that we have a input coming from every department, ideally. So you probably QHSE department can take the charge, but again, when you talk about a steering committee, that should have at least one representative coming from everywhere. Okay, perfect. Now talking about again lean management. And I'll talk about Six Sigma together. And then I'll compare it with Kaizen. Kaizen is what is a flavor. People talk a lot about Kaizen, but we'll get to Kaizen later. First, let's talk about this lean management Six Sigma together to understand how different is it from there. So first thing first, this side. It's a management tool. Top-down approach. People like you, me, we will sit down with a leadership team, with a boardroom, will plan for it, strategies, long-term projects, and all that jazz is done. So these like Six Sigma, Green Belt project, Black Belt projects, long-term, big strategic stuff, data analysis, stuff like that. So people deal with that kind of job. So while we're doing this lean implementation or Six Sigma implementation, we are sort of investing in the people. See, when you're doing this implementation, you are conducting lots of skills training. You're conducting this training for your staff. Apart from that, you're doing cross-skilling also. So while you're doing this, people were able to empower themselves. You were able to empower the staff, and they got new skills while you're implementing it. Say, you've done investment in the people by doing this Lean Six Sigma and all, because they also learned a lot of new stuff. As a matter of fact, you were doing this Six Sigma implementation or lean implementation. Now, since the management has invested in the people, now people, I'm talking about the ground level staff, these guys are not fortunate enough because they did not get a great education like you got. They were not fortunate enough to get the kind of exposure you got in your career, but they were fortunate enough to work under your leadership. They were able to see a leader taking a charge. How do you carry out yourself? How do you conduct your meetings? They were looking at you. They were learning. That was their school. No, but they got a, like, so for them, they probably may not have gone to a business school or a college where they could learn, but now they were looking at a leader very closely. They were watching you, learning things. That was learning apart from your trainings. That was learning and development, how you carry out yourself, how you conduct those trainings, how do you execute, solve the problem. So they got empowered. When you have done investment in people, these people who have been empowered, they want to respond. Everyone wants to do well, earn more, get career options and all that thing. So people want to respond. But in an ideal world, nobody is going to ask these people, right? Nobody, like, do you think I'll go and ask a machine operator, okay, I'm planning for some strategic stuff. Well, what is your suggestion? Nobody's going to ask a machine operator. Will I go and ask a housekeeping guy, what are your suggestions? What can be done to improve the whatever the organization? No, nobody cares to go and talk to them, or because the strategy planning is happening here. But since the management has invested in the people by doing this Lean, Six Sigma and all that implementation stuff, Kaizen kicks in. Now, Kaizen is Japanese word, Kai plus Zen. Kai is change and Zen is for betterment. So Kaizen talks about, again, I would differ with the continuous improvement. It's called continuous
improvement.
Yeah. Continual improvement is never-ending improvement. And let's get some more concepts and facts about it. It is not a tool. Unfortunately, people have been using it as a tool. Kaizen is mindset. Kaizen is about how you think about it. Kaizen is not a tool and it's been misused. Agile is a mindset. It's not a tool. Primarily, we talk about Kaizen is something which has to be thought. The mindset tells you whether you're in a Kaizen mode or not. So this is driven by the ground level stuff. a machine operator, a housekeeping guy, everyone in the organization contributes here. It is their initiative. So that was top-down approach. This is bottom-top approach. It is reverse. But again, it's amazing. Well, why? Because, and these are not massive like Six Sigma and all. This Kaizen could be 1 day, 2, like 4, 5 days, maximum, say 5 days project. This is all. These are small incremental changes. Small incremental changes for, well, and the fundamental here is one in Kaizen. The mindset is my tomorrow should be better than today. Simple as that. The magnitude doesn't matter. Even if the change is 0.0, this is the change improvement. I am happy. Absolutely happy. It's not about the number. It's about the mindset. It's about coming to work with the mindset that, okay, I'll contribute something. I'll become a better professional. I'll learn something. That's the mindset. I'm coming to work. I'm not thinking about going back home. I am excited to come to work. Why? Because there'll be something new to learn. And this is, I'm talking about the ground level stuff, how it would happen, because you have created a positive culture where there's no barriers. People are not afraid to come back and go and talk to anyone. I can walk into a director's room and go and tell him, well, I think I have an idea. I want to share that. That's the kind of culture we have created. People are motivated to create it. And why? Because you have done the investment in them. They feel empowered. They have new ideas coming. You have a very self-motivated team, which is ready to contribute in small, simple way. Kaizen can be as small as that. It's all not always about number. Well, when we talk about Kaizen, it's simple, fundamental, keep in mind, Kaizen never fails. Never. We either succeed or we learn. The only way we can fail in Kaizen, then you plan and you don't implement. So Kaizen is all about execution. Do work, okay. When you keep planning, you can make a fancy plans on a PowerPoint and show $1 million, $1 billion plan. You don't implement, nothing happens. So planning, too much of planning doesn't do anything. Execution, what matters? So execute it. Success of Kaizen is all about execution. Get out of that mode of planning. Execute it. What worse? It doesn't work, no problem. If it works, great. If it does not work, we'll learn. Something new is happening. At least you're making an effort. So it's about mindset of never stopping, never ending. You go back. Well, I am going to make that effort. Like, let me tell you, like, I find that in my organization, just an example, people have a very basic problem, email etiquette problem. People end up writing email, not purposefully, but the choice of word, the way they type the email, it sounds very rude. And somehow they don't realize they are writing the email in a very wrong way. It's basic email etiquettes are missing. And I feel that I've got good knowledge about how to write a proper email. Why don't you make a quick training plan for a couple of hours, conduct a training, and that's Kaizen. It's not always about number. Simple logic is my tomorrow should be better than today. I am contributing. The mindset is about contribution, creation. That's what we're looking at in a Kaizen world. Primarily, how do you go about implementing Kaizen? We implement Kaizen through PDCA. PDCA approach is used to implement Kaizen. Plan, do, check, and act. Let's see how. So let's kind of get this one. Plan, do, check, and act. What do? We want to collect ideas of improvement from people, ground level staff, everyone involved. So we collect ideas for improvement. So get all the pool of ideas, a lot of ideas, prepare for execution. Well, prepare for execution, get ready, whatever you want to do. That's what you want to do. Here, you don't get into those hassles of like long term. It's small mini ideas. But again, it's all about the mindset. I want to contribute, do something, changes. Well, we want to prepare for execution. Do means implement. Don't wait. Well, implement it. What will happen? Worst case, nothing. Don't worry about that. Check. Did it work? Hypothetically, we had 20 ideas implemented. Hypothetically. And when we checked, what happened? 2 ideas worked. Well, congratulations. Well, so award people, reward people, appreciate people, give them certificate, make a big deal out about it. add to SOP, standard operating procedure. Going forward, we will be following this procedure. This is better. We have seen an improvement. Great job. Appreciate those people. Make a positive culture about and appreciate people. They will be motivated. Other people will also say, well, I would love to contribute. Did we fail in 18 ideas? No. 18 ideas did not work well, which is right. We learned something. What do you do next? Well, do root cause analysis. We can talk about, we learn about this 5 analysis, do 5 analysis, root cause analysis, find out why. Find out why it did not work. And what? Start over again. Start again. It's a loop. You don't get out of it. You don't never say die attitude. Again, start planning. Again, go and execute. So this is a cycle. Go on and on, on and on. New ideas will keep coming. New ideas. This is how it works. So you don't just give up. Well, what? Well, see, if I don't execute any idea, don't plan for anything, failure is not about idea not working. Failure is about not even making an attempt to do it. If you keep planning, nothing's going to happen. Trust the life you have, it will remain the same. At least you're making an effort. That's what is needed. So here it's not about the success rate. It's about execution. That's it. And you will never get out of loop. So will never ending. I never fail in Kaizen. If I execute, job done. I don't care. Job done. We'll go and see what needs to be done. But bottom line, I need to go. And it's like on the move. We never stop in Kaizen. That's what it is all about. Don't stop and don't let others stop. That's how we go about it. Now, quick check on this one. Kaizen, is it clear? Okay. Last bit to talk about here. Who all are the parties in steering committee? Well, we can have a nomination from every department. A nomination from every department can do the job. Ideally, it should be at least one representative from every department. So you can keep getting those inputs from various departments. Ideally, it will always be one person from every department should always be there in steering committee. In management also, which is fine. There's no such rule, but again, at least people always have at least one representative from every department. You will be there. So here it's all about taking everyone along. Now, the section we're getting into is very, very harsh. Very harsh. Why? Because it's about how lean performs the checks, numbers, calculations, some bit of numbers. It is bad. It is bad and it is very harsh. Let's see why. First, let me kind of write down the definitions and we then look at calculations. How lean works on calculations. Say yield, TPY is throughput yield, and RTY is rolled throughput yield. RTY, TPY, and done with it. Let's kind of talk about it. Okay, first thing first. Yield is net good output for which the customer will pay. That's what it is. So whatever items we give to the customer which are good and for which the customer is going to pay is the yield of the process. Net final output, which is good. TPY is error-free output at department or sort of manager level. Error-free output. This is error-free output for the entire process. So let's see how does the calculation works. Hypothetical scenario, let's create a small table and first understand the table first. We have a process step A, some department. There's a department A, they're doing some job in this department A. The output, when they do the job, output goes to department B. So then department B starts doing the job. When department B completes the job, it goes to department C. So we say we have 3-step process. My process creates the output after department C. So the 3 departments need to work and finally we have a output created after the third. So first A completes the job, it goes to B. B completes the job, it goes to C. That's how it works. Finally, after C, we have the output. Customer demanded, say 50 items to be manufactured. Some output has to be created. So my input for the process, input is 50 items. We get the raw material for 50 items. We start processing. When the A department completed their job, whatever they were doing, error-free output for, well, error-free output first time. So in the first attempt, when they kind of processed 50 items, hypothetically, we got 32, rather, let's keep it 38. 38 items error-free out of 50. So when they processed 50 items, they got 38 good items. Error-free, 12 items had some problems. So the manager of Department A got really concerned about it. 12 items got, there is a defect. So he got all the 12 items checked. And while checking, this guy found that 2 items are completely damaged. Those 2 items are absolutely damaged. So they got scrapped off. So you need to replace those items. You can't do much about it. So out of remaining the 12 which were missing, 2 items are damaged and 10 items are repairable. So at least he was a little bit relaxed. So repaired, or you can say reworked. So we were reworked on them. Job done. So at least 10 items were repairable. So they were able to save those 10 items. So net output after rework is going to be the first 38 items which just came out without any problem. And then finally, we had the 10 items which we reworked. So in nutshell, we had 48 items which were good by the Department A. 2 we lost because they were completely damaged. You could not save them. That's the current scenario here. This 48 goes to next department as input. Output for one department becomes input for another. They receive only 48. Why? Because we lost 2. When this department did their bit of processing, they could only get 31 items good. Only 31. So technically, how much did they lose? 9 and 8, 17, right? 17 items they had lost, which is absolutely bad. So this guy, the Department B manager, got really concerned about it. So what did he do? He got all this checked, and fortunately, he was, at least he could take a sense of satisfaction. They lost nothing. All the remaining, whatever, how much did I count? Like 9 and 8, 17. 17 items, all 17 items were repairable, and he was a little relaxed now. So he was able to save everything, he lost nothing. So 31, which was error-free in the first attempt, plus the 17 which were repaired and reworked, finally had 48. We lost nothing. Everything was recovered. So 48 items, great job done. While this guy moves, output goes to last department, 48 only because we have lost nothing here. When this department starts working on it, they created about 42 items error-free out of 48, and 6 items had some problem. And they checked it and they found all 6 are damaged completely, lost. Nothing to recover, nothing to, so it's all lost. So technically, the net output remains 42 only. Why? Because we had nothing, no zero repair. So all 42 error-free just remain 42 because remaining 6 are completely damaged. We lost them. Customer needed 50. We gave 42. That's it. The end output is 42. So what do we call as our yield of the process? Yield is 42 output as output and divided by 50, which is our input of the department. So input, which is initial, we got 50 items. So what do we do here? 42 divided by 50 is my yield of the, so customer demand. How much did we meet? 84% of the customer demand is what we satisfied. Customer will pay us for this 84% item, which is 42 items, because we could not give 8 items. So customer will only pay us for 42 good items. Remaining we lost somehow. We have to replace and do again, make them 8 extra again, and we'll give it to the customer. Only 42 items were billable now. That's the standard way the customer gets to know. But have a look at this. Now we talk about, well, can you tell me which of my manager? So let's call this manager A, manager B, manager C. Which manager is my best manager here? Just a matter of fact, a best manager. We all got into, most of us got into the trap of that. Yes. Okay, let's see. Lean world. Lean world will be amazing. We're going to calculate TPY, throughput yield. We know what is TPY. How is throughput yield calculated? TPY is error-free output of department, say whatever we have, divided by input of department. Whatever you get, let's kind of put a line so that we don't mess it up with this thing. So put a line here, divided by That's divided by, let's put one more line up on top here. Okay, that's what it is. So that's the formula. Let's kind of do that. What was error-free output? Well, error-free output was 38 out of input 50. The first time error-free output without any rework, you processed and you got error-free output 38. This guy, this department is working at 76% of error-free output. So remaining item either gets damaged completely or gets reworked. So 24% items are either getting damaged or getting reworked. Error-free, first time, only 76%. Second guy, 31 out of 48. This guy is working at 64.5% of error-free output. So let's call it 65. So that means 65% of his items are getting processed. Error-free, 35% of time is either getting rejected or is getting reworked. But error-free is only 65%, roughly. Looking at the last one, 42 out of 48. This guy is working at 87.5% of error-free output. This guy is the best one. The worst one is the middle one. This guy is the worst one. While lean is absolutely non-forgiving, like that doesn't give, there's nothing called sorry. If you made a mistake, you will be penalized. Well, do it. Well, first of all, let's talk with this guy. We're not giving credit for 17 rework. We're not. Absolutely not. Not even a single credit. You know why? If this guy wants me to tell, like, so let's understand the scenario here. We gave 42 good items to the customer. Did we check the calculation here? To give 42 good items to the customer, you have reworked 27 times. Where is this in the calculation? 27 times you reworked to give 42 good items. This is not nowhere in the calculation. Where is this extra money will come from? This is called hidden factory. This gets lost in the calculation. We did 27 times extra work to create 42 good items. It's bad. It's utterly bad. And like if this guy comes to me and says, well, I lost nothing. You should be giving credit. Well, first of all, help me understand. Why should I be giving you credit? I should be penalizing you. Why? Because you created 17 defects. Help me understand. How did you make those 17 defects? Because you just got lucky they were all repairable. But it was defect in the first place. When you have a defect, either it's repairable or non-repairable. You just got lucky you had no defects. But help me understand, how did you make the defect in the first place? If you would not have made a defect, I would have got 17 new items created. I should be penalizing you. You are slowing down my process. You are doing the work which you are continue to do the work which should have been finished way back. My team, because you did that job, you created error. Now you spent more time fixing those errors 17 times. And you want me to give you credit? It's like making a mistake and saying sorry. No, sorry. It's not going to work in lean world. Error is non-negotiable. You will not be given an excuse. It's not okay to say sorry. You will be penalized for sure. So having said that, reworks are penalized. You would not be getting a credit. So here, the worst guy, the bottleneck of the process is this guy. This guy is the slowest guy and is slowing down my process significantly. I will not give him credit for anything. Well, since you are so stringent, boss, and you don't care about emotions of your people, let's see. You should not be taking credit yourself. So RTI is rolled throughput yield for the entire process because you're the boss and you cannot have two different rules. When you don't give credit to your people, you should not take the credit also. How do you do that? TPY1 multiplied by TPY2 multiplied by TPY3. Multiply all the throughput yields and you get your overall process error-free percentage, and that's your performance. The first one multiplied by second one multiplied by third one will give you entire process error-free rate, and that's 42.9%, which is absolutely, absolutely bad. And yes, this is how we look at roughly 43%. So that tells me that for you as a business owner, if you're the overall head of a department, for you, it's technically very shameful activity. We're looking at, if you start with 100 items, only 43%, like let's call it 43, only 43% items will come out of the process without any error. remaining, whatever this 47% items will, 47 or whatever, my maths is too bad here. So 50, whatever, 50, the 7%. 57% of your items will either get rejected or will be repaired. So this is absolutely bad. You simply multiply the three individual departments, just multiply them. And I'll give you the maths, how it's coming. I'll tell you like what kind of question you get here. Let's understand the maths behind it. You can get a question like this. Calculate RTY for the process given below. You can get a question like given below. We have a department A, department B, department C, department, 4 departments. Sequential, same. So this process is working. This department is working at, say, 92% of error-free output. This department is working at 88% error-free output. This department is working at, say, 85% error-free output. And this department is working at, say 94% error-free output. That's what it is. So these are error-free, which is throughput yield is given for all these. So let me write it here. Throughput yield for every department is given, error-free output. Now, how do we get RTY? RTY is simply roll throughput yield is multiply first with the second one, with the third one, and with the fourth one, and done with it. The overall process error-free output is 64.6%. Let's see the maths. How do you get this 64%? If we start with 100 items, the first process is working at 92% error-free. That means 92% you will get is error-free, 8% you will be lost. That is error, that's not error-free. So the first department is working at 92% error-free. So you only get 92% of this as good item, 8% will be lost. So we'll get 8% lost. 92 is the net output. We get 92 good, 8 is lost. Output of this becomes the input for next department. So 92 goes to the next process. This process is working at 88% of error-free. That means 12% leakage will happen here. I will only get 88% good of 92. So we take 88% of 92 is right here. So this is the outcome. Remaining 12% was lost. This goes to next process as input. Next department is working at 85% error-free. So there will be leakage of 15%. Leakage of 15% of 80.96. This is my input. So I'll lose 15% of this and I'll only get 85% of this. So I will multiply this with 85%. You get this. This gets to last department. This department is working at 94% error-free. That means you lose 6% and you only get 94% of this value as an output. So multiply this with 94% and match this value with this one. And you see, we are exactly the same. That's the maths behind it. So when you multiply this is the maths happening in the backend. This is what is happening. So this is the same. We're looking at the same numbers. I hope it's clear with everyone. We're looking at the same number. So whenever we multiply them, this is how it is doing the maths in the backend. This is what it is. Exactly. 64.687 are the same. You multiply, this is what it leakage continues to happen. You get the final answer. That's what it works. So all in all, this is how you kind of look into it, how the leakage happens, and you will be able to figure. But again, this is how lean works. Remember one thing, lean will never give any credit to a rework. Error is an error. You will never be forgiven for that. And that's how it works. So it's like simple logic is that it says that if you continue to give benefit of doubt, if you continue to accept those apologies, people will never improve. That's the mindset. That's the fundamental. So it's not okay to make a mistake and correct that mistake. No. Why did the mistake happen in the first place? So you cannot be giving credit. If you really want to fix the process, people need to get that clear. I will be penalized. So let's make sure if we do the job, let's create output which is good in the first attempt only, because I will get penalized. So that clarity, if you continue to give credit, it's never going to improve. That's what the mindset talks about. So all in all, but that's all we had to do here. Now, quick one. It's almost the time to take a break. Let's do one thing. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into numbers, and that's very interesting part. So let's take the break, and I guess it's time for the break, right? I'm like just a little get zoomed up. Let me see. It is. Yeah, it is. So let's take the break. But all right, so we'll start with a measure phase now. So measure phase is pretty long here. And if I talk about the actual duration, this is a real project also is going to take time. So measure phase has got a few sections to talk about. Like first is about statistics, which is what we need to learn. It is not activities. So we complete define phase. We have to start with the activities of measure phase. But this is not about activities. We're learning this as a part of measure phase, but these are not activities. It's just more about having the basic knowledge of statistics, because from here on, we'll require understanding of statistics, be it to measure, analyze, improve, and control. For us to understand the data aspect from all these phases, we need to have that basic understanding developed. So that first portion is about just preparing ourselves to ensure that we can understand remaining content. Activities of measure phase, like we had defined phase, project charter, communication plan, RACI, and all that, that task will start here. This is where you have this task for measure phase. So we'll first start, given the time, we'll be working with this basic stats today. Let's kind of get started here. So first thing first, we'll talk about the data types. Well, we'll start analyzing data. We handle different kind of data sets. So first thing first, if I talk about broad classification of a data, can be of two types only. We talk about either data is continuous data. It's also called variable data. Or a data can be called as discrete data. So we'll get into details, but in a nutshell, after we have discussed about what is continuous and discrete, you'll see the net outcome of that is this is always measured. And this is always counted. In the end, we'll see, we can talk about it, but this is always counted. So one data is measured, another data is counted, and that's the only difference between discrete and continuous. Let's get the details now. When you say continuous data, well, any data which has a standard unit of measurement is continuous data. So for you to call something as a continuous data, there has to be a standard unit of measurement. What do we measure? Height. We don't count it. We measure it. Weight, time, temperature. All these data sets are measured, are not counted. I can measure height in inches, centimeters, millimeters, and God knows what not. Weight in kilogram, pound, gram, milligram, and so on and so forth. Time in hours, minutes, seconds, and so forth. Temperature in Kelvin, Celsius, Fahrenheit. We have so many units. So if there is the unit of measurement, so in a nutshell, if there is a unit of measurement, it's 100% continuous data. 100% continuous data. There's no need to talk about anything else. It is continuous data. Now, additional properties of continuous data, we should be clear about it. You can always write down a continuous data into infinite decimal places. Infinite decimal places. And let's see an example. Say, me and my friend, we both joined some sort of health, like a weight loss program. And when we joined this weight loss program, we both had a weight of like 75 kilograms. After, say, 2 weeks of rigorous training, our instructor wants us to measure the weight and to see the improvement. I stand on the weighing scale. My weight shows 70 kilograms. I'm quite happy. Within 2 weeks' time, lost 5 kilograms. It's a great job. My friend also stands on the weighing scale. His weight also shows 70 kilos. I am not ready to accept that. Well, I was expecting I've done better. So I go to next place of decimal. My weight is 70.2. Fortunately, my friend is also the same. Well, I am not ready to accept that. So I go to next place of decimal. My friend weight is also the same. Now, that's enough. Now, pretty much it's a matter of now pride or like a sort of this, I need to win. So I continue. And this is pretty much, I can go on. And this is where I find, oh, well, I am lighter and my friend is heavier. So that's a sense of achievement. So that's what you can go till infinite decimal places in case of continuous data. You will end up finding a difference somewhere. When you see this Olympics, when you got a 100-meter race or whatever, they just cross the finishing line right at the same time. but we still have a winner there. Why? Because we can break it down into smaller fragments and we can see a small difference. It will come. So bottom line, we have option of infinite decimal places here. You can interchange the format of the data into, rather interchange without changing its original meaning. Let's say I can write 1 hour as 60 minutes, absolute value of time did not change. I can write that as 3600 seconds, absolute value of time did not change. I have this flexibility of interchangeability. Why? Because of unit of measurement. I can always do that interchangeability. It's without impacting the units, without impacting the absolute value. Now, when you talk about discrete data, what is discrete data? Well, you don't have a unit of measurement. If it doesn't have a unit of measurement, it has to be a discrete data by default. Continuous data is going to be 100% quantitative data. 100% quant, because you're going to measure it. Using some unit of measurement, it will 100% be a quantitative data, some sort of numbers. Discrete can be both. You can have qualitative discrete and quantitative discrete also. Both types are possible. So let's talk about first type of discrete and like both these types. So we have quantitative discrete, let's quantitative discrete data and qualitative discrete data. The qualitative discrete has a lot of names, and we should know all of them. Actually, the most common is categorical data, which we call as attribute data also, most common one. So qualitative, attribute, categorical, all are same. So primarily, the discrete quantitative data is the type is count, and the second type is percentage. So you've got these two are type of quantitative discrete. We'll discuss about it. And in case of qualitative one, we have binary data, we have ordinal data, and we have nominal data. So we have 3 types of qualitative, 2 types of quantitative. Now, what is count? Well, count of anything. So first of all, there is no unit of measurement. You're counting something. So count of complaints, count of errors, count of people. Well, count of people. Bottom line, you're counting. This can never be in decimal places. You can't do that ever. You can't say, I spoke with 5.75 people. No, you can't. Like you speak with 5 people, 6 people, 7 people. You can't say we received, say, 7.95 complaints. No, 7 complaints, 8 complaints, 9 complaints. So you count it. It's a whole number always. And moreover, there's no unit of measurement. So you don't have the changed A, there is no unit of measurement. B, you can't get into decimal place ever. Count will be always a whole number. Percentage is very close. The closest to continuous is this one. But it's still a discrete data. Can you write percentage in decimal places like quality percentage? Yeah, I can have quality percentage written like my quality percentage can be written like this. Absolutely. I can do that. But it's still a discrete data, still a count. Percentage is still a count. Well, let's first understand why. The word percentage, percent. So we can say per and cent. Break it down. Per means out of and cent means 100. You are counting how many out of 100. That's what you do. Percentage means exactly this. You're counting how many out of 100. Let's take an example. Auditor found these many errors out of some random number. So this is calculate defect percentage. No problem. The defect percentage for this clause, whatever audit which happened, is equal to, so this is 565 divided by 1321. That's it. Let's calculate this one. So 565 divided by 1321, that's my defect percentage. If I look at the percentage here, it's 42.77. I can get into decimal places. But what is it actually? Is it not what are you doing here? Basically, this is what we're doing. Elementary maths. 565 errors out of 1321. So X defects out of 100. That's what you're doing. If you got 565 defects out of 1321, how many will you get out of 100? That's what means percentage. The underlying data is still a count. You may get into decimal, but how are you getting the decimal? Based on the counting. It's the counting which is happening. These many you got these many out of this, then how many out of 100? So you're counting it. The count-based conversion is what you're looking at. So it's still a discrete, and moreover, bigger reason, percentage is not a unit of measurement. It is percentage out of proportion. That's a percentage. It's not a unit of measurement. So A, you do not have a unit of measurement. B, it's still a counting activity. So count is also a discrete data, percentage is a discrete data, and both are quantitative in nature. They don't have a unit of measurement. Qualitative, any which doesn't have a unit of measurement. You're talking about a binary data. Binary, like this can only contain two possible values. Well, this is what we call as binary data. Yes, no, pass, fail. Even 1, 0 is the binary. Computers work on binary code, 1, 0. All these are binary data. Well, if there are more than two possible values, you can't call it binary. It has to be either ordinal or nominal data. If it's more than two, just cannot call it binary. How do I know it's ordinal or nominal? Answer is in the name itself, order. Nominal, name. That's it. So this is all about ranking, rating. Data is all ordinal. Every value has a positional rank. It has a meaning. Well, when I say ratings, let's kind of talk about ratings here. So when I talk about ratings, we have a rating A, a rating of 1, rating of 2, 3, 4, and 5. Are these numbers? No. They are not numbers. They represent a rank. It tells me 3's rating is better than 2, but it's lesser than 4 rating. I can't say rating of 1 plus rating of 2 will be equal to rating of 3, or rating of 1 plus rating of 4 is equal to rating of 5. No, I can't do that. It's not number. It's exactly like excellent, good, average, bad. So we are talking about ordinal data. It's a ranking data. It has a positional rank in it. Everything has a meaning. This is bigger, this is smaller. That's what it's telling me. It's an order, like postgraduate, graduate, undergraduate, ranking system of education. So it has a logical sequence in it. So this is ordinal. When you talk about nominal, no logic, no sequence, no order, no rating, no ranking, pretty much. It's just a name, a label, whatever you call this. It's basically, in a nutshell, it's an identification. Identification. That's it. Let's talk about it. Red, blue, green, yellow. Does it tell me which color is a better color? No, it's just a name. Who cares? Throw red in the end, bring yellow in the beginning. Who cares about that? Like I mean, shoe brands, Reebok, Adidas, Puma, Nike, Fila. Just a name. Doesn't matter at all. Let's call about, let's say we have got phone numbers. Well, phone numbers, mobile numbers. I'll write mine without writing anyone else's. This is my mobile number. Somebody must be having this number also, which is somebody here. And somebody must be having this number also. But does it tell me my mobile number is better than theirs? No. It's just an identification given to me. That's my number, but that has no meaning. It's a meaningless number. It's been identification given. Tomorrow you may call it alpha, beta, theta. Who cares? It's just a number, like employee code. Employee code doesn't tell me anything. 1, 2, 3. When you've got employee codes, it doesn't tell me employee code 1 is better than 2, 2 is better than 3. No, it's just a name been assigned to you, and which is in form of a number. Tomorrow I'll actually introduce an alpha, like a employee code, which is alphanumeric. I may start calling you A, B, C, D, E. Well, who cares? It doesn't tell anything. It's just a name, like PIN codes or zip codes. We talk about different car numbers. Car numbers, when we have got car number plate, It doesn't mean anything to us. It's just a number been assigned to you. Doesn't tell me this is big or lot, like small, bottom line. It's a nominal data. So all in all, these are three different types of categorical data or nominal data, you can say, qualitative data. So I should be able to broadly classify data as continuous or discrete. So if there's a unit of measurement, I call it continuous data. If there's no unit of measurement, I need to know which type of discrete. Is it a quantitative one or a qualitative one? If it's quantitative, whether it's count or percentage. If it's qualitative, whether it's binary, ordinal, or nominal. That I should be able to figure out. Now, quick check on this one, if it's okay and clear. Is it okay and clear? Quick check.
Yes.
All right, then please answer this question. So my car gives a mileage of 24.656 kilometers per liter. What kind of data is that? A continuous or discrete? Continuous or discrete data? It's a continuous data, absolutely, yes. There's a unit of measurement, kilometer, liter, like practically it's all a continuous data. There's a unit of measurement. I can write this in decimal places. It is a continuous data, perfect. Okay, well, we have speed of the car. My speed of the car is, I can drive at 153 point some this kilometers per hour speed. That's my speed of the car. What kind of data is that? Still, okay, well, that is a continuous data. It's kilometer per hour. It's a continuous data. It's a unit. Kilometer is unit. Hours, time is minute. And then technically, we're talking about the speed that can be written in decimal place. Remember, continuous data can always be written in decimal places. Okay. Typing speed. I've got 25 words per minute. Continuous or discrete? Continuous or discrete? I was setting you up. Yes, Jasir, you're right about that. That is a discrete data. That is a discrete. It's a count of, this is actually count of words typed per minute. Can you write 25.65 words? No, you cannot. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Continuous data can always be written in decimal places. This is not possible. It type 25, 26, 27, 28 cannot be written in decimal places. So keep this in mind. Whenever you're looking at numbers, you have to ask, can I write this in decimal place? No. If no, it's count. Continuous data can always be written. Say my daily production, say what I see is my daily production is I manufacture, say 150 kilograms. 150 kilograms is my production. Continuous or discrete? Continuous, absolutely. Well, a unit of measurement is there. The second question I'm going to be asking, can I have production? Is it possible? Can I write? Can my production be this also? Yes, I can have. Can my production can be decimal places? Absolutely, yes. My production can be in decimal 150.1, 150.5. That can be done. Continuous data can always be written in decimal places. So right now, this number is exactly 150. But can you write this in decimal? Yes. But discrete data cannot be. Like number of complaints cannot be in decimal. So whenever we talk about data, just try to just keep those aspects in mind. You will be fine. Pardon me, I was trying to set you up all this while so that I could ask you this question. So I was trapped. So just a matter of fact, we just wanted to make sure that we keep those aspects in mind. Okay, first thing first here, we'll try to now get into analysis part, data analysis. When you start with your data analysis journey, any data you want to start with analysis, statistics wants us and teaches us how to start with your data analysis journey. Pick up any data you want to start analysis. Well, let's kind of get rid of this unnecessary stuff here. We can write down automatically. Okay, data analysis. So first job what statistics teaches us is to find measures of central tendency. That's what it's going to talk about. What do you mean by measures of central tendency? It says find where is the center of the data. Whatever data you're looking at, where is the center of the data set? And globally, well, you talk about anyone, we always, well, what is the method to find the center of a data? If I give you some numbers, how would you find the center of the data in general? You got some numbers, average. Yes, absolutely. Yes, you're right about that. Everyone uses average, and this is absolutely correct. So when we talk about center of data, in statistics, we use the word mean. We don't rather use the word average. So this is the most accurate method to find the center of the data set. It's not complete. I'll come back and complete. This statement needs to be completed. This is the most accurate method to find a center of data. Let's kind of do that small. I don't want to teach you average. Everyone knows average, but still, for a reason, I'm going to do this. 2, 5, 7, 9, and 12. We got a data set. I want to calculate average of the data. So what do I do for average? I will take the sum of data, count of data, and take the average here. So sum divided by count. So take sum of this data set. Sum is this. Count of the data is 5. So sum divided by count gives me average. And that's my average of data. I could have directly used the average formula. Job done, pretty much. No rocket science. Everyone understands this pretty much. Now, what I only want to establish here is when I see a value of average, what does it tell me? That's all. So when I look at an average value, so an average value represents the center of the data set. Okay? It looks like other values are around that mean, like here, like say in this case 7. So in case it looks like center is 7 and all other values are around 7. It's like a solar system. Sun is in the center and all other planets are revolving around the sun. So technically that's how average is, like central value. It represents everything. Now that's what I mean by average. Now, keeping the same logic in mind, 2, 5, 7, 9, and we have got 250. Let's go and directly calculate average without wasting time. Average formula. Would you be okay with this 54.6? I just use the formula average and it is what I'm getting, 54.6. Is it right? 54.6. Should I be looking at 54.6 as the center of the data? Doesn't make logical sense, right? It doesn't look like center of data. It doesn't look like all other values around 7. 7 was like making sense. But all like does this? Most of the data is small. Because of this one outlier value, my average has significantly impacted. So this kind of data in statistics, we're just trying to establish concepts here. Non-normal, not normal, but non-normal data in statistics. And this kind of data is called a normal data in statistics. We'll get to understand how to differentiate normal, non-normal. But for now, it's clear that for a non-normal data, average is wrong. So we should never, ever use mean for non-normal data. It's wrong. It's very sensitive to outlier values. We should never use averages for such data. So let's complete this sentence now. Most accurate data to find the center of, well, when only if data is normal. Yes. If data is normal, there's nothing better than average. If data is normal, we'll understand what is normal, non-normal part. But again, if data is normal, we should always use average. Nothing better than that. But by the way, average is called arithmetic center. This is called arithmetic, mathematical center, calculated center. What do you call this? Arithmetic center of data, calculated center of data. This is most accurate any given day, but only if the data is normal. Having said that, I still want to find average. I still want to find center, because measure of central tendency says find the center of data. That's what you're supposed to do. Find where is the center. So for normal data, I'm able to find the center with average. But if the data is non-normal, what do I do? Where is this? How should I find the center of this data? Anyone wants to pitch in? What should we use if average can't be used? This data for the one which we have a problem. What should be chosen here? If I can't use average, what alternative do I have here? Anyone? Median. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Median. And we got to understand what's so special about median. Median is This is positional center of data. That was arithmetic center, mathematical center, calculated center. This is positional center of data. This is 100% insensitive to outlier values. It doesn't matter. This value is 250 or 2 million or 200 million. It doesn't matter. Median will not change. Median is very 100% insensitive. So I will be trying to go and solve median manually. And we have just for a reason, because we will be using certain tools and their understanding how median works has to be there. It has to be crystal clear. So let's kind of get this data right now. Let's calculate median of this data. So when I'm going to calculate a median by hand using a pen and paper, piece of paper. So if you are calculating median by hand, well, pretty much pen and paper manually. You must sort the data first. We must sort the data. Doesn't matter, ascending, descending, doesn't matter. Do whatever you are comfortable with, but sort it. Formula would be n plus 1 divided by 2. Is it going to give me median? No. This will give me position of median, not the median, but position of median. It's a positional center. N means total number of data points. How many data points we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 data points. So let's kind of plug in here. N is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. 3 is not median, but 3 is position of median. Let's find third position. The first, second, third. Then you come from the top or you go from the bottom. First, second, third. Whichever side you go, you get median. 7 is the third value here. So third, 7 is the median of the data set. And can I use a formula? Yes, we have a median formula also. I can simply use median formula. I can calculate median of this data and it's going to be 7. Doesn't matter. I will get 7. Now, there could be questions. There can be, which is absolutely okay. What if we have even number of data set? Here we got an odd number, so we could find a middle value here. But what if we have even? We get to that point. But before we get to that point, it's very important to understand when somebody tells me a median value, what does it tell us? Like we looked at average, we want to know what average tells us. We know what average tells us. But when I look at a median, this idea has to be crystal clear. When somebody tells me a median value, what does it mean? Median.
Add both number and divide it by 2.
Yeah. So that will be, so we'll be taking an average in that case. Yeah, absolutely correct. But again, fundamentally what median means. Median is the 50th. Median is the 50th percentile value in the data set. Half data is always less than median. Half data is always more than median. Median splits the data right at the center. It's a splitter. It will split it exactly at the center. This fact has to be understood for median, come what may. This is the crux of the conversation. Median is always the mid value, which will split this here. Half data less than median, half data more than median, always splits it right in the center. Now, there can be even number of data set. Nothing changes. Process will not change. So if we have an even number, 2, 5, 7, 9, 12, and now 250. That's even number, which is fine. Nothing changes. If you're calculating by hand, yes, we are doing that. Sort data, we have sorted the data. N plus 1 by 2, let's get this one. As it is, no changes in the formula. N is 6 samples. So now we've got 6 plus 1 is 7. And 7 divided by 2 is going to be 3.5. 3.5, which is 3.5, is position of median, not median, position of median. Where is third? 3.5 position. So we go from 1, 2, 3. This is third position. Let's mark it third. And this is fourth position. So between third and the fourth position, there will be 3.5 position in between. So we take average. We take average of 7 and 9, and that is 8. And 8 is the median. You want to use the formula? We can use that median formula. Use this median formula, and you will get your answer as 8. Look at the beauty. 8 is not even in the data. But is it doing the job of median? Yes. Half data is less than 8? Yes. Half data is more than 8? Yes. Median will always split equally both sides, whatever is the case, it'll always do an equal splitting. Median is absolutely useful in that case. Having said that, if you're using Excel, you don't have to worry. If you are using Excel to calculate median, you don't need to sort nothing. Don't do anything. Just use the data, like I'm creating a random data here, some random values, and I will calculate median for this. Let's say these are, let me get one more here. That's 4. This is my, how many values we've got here. Let's say it's not shuffled, it's not sorted, and we have got what? How many? 12 values, even number. That's even better. Median. Let's use the formula, median. For this data, I got a median of 37. Let's try to do it manually and find it. Are we actually getting median? Because this is not sorted. I have not, this is like up and down. I am going to use the regular process. Copy paste this data, sort it now. Let's sort it and see, are we getting this median? Let's sort this data. This is sorted. I will go ahead and use the formula, which is what we are sorting by hand. Yes, let's get this one. It says 12 is the total count is 12. N is 12. Samples, total number of samples are 12. So I'll do 12 plus 1 is 13, and 13 divided by 2 is going to be 6.5. So we'll find 6.5 position. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, and 7. Average of both of them is 37. So yes, your median is 37 here. Don't worry. So median is 37. We are looking at it. Average of both of them will be 37. So whether it doesn't need, you don't have to go and sort the formula. Well, you don't have to sort when you're using a formula. By default, Excel is doing all that. But if you're trying to calculate by hand, then you have to sort it. Otherwise, you don't need it. So in a nutshell, to summarize this, if data is normal, use mean, which is average. Having said that, it's absolutely okay to use median for normal data. There's nothing wrong. Normal data, you can use median also. But we prefer mean as it's more accurate. Mean is the most accurate method to find a center. So if data is normal, there's nothing, no problem. I can also use median for a normal data. But we always prefer mean because it's calculated average. It's a mathematical average, not a positional average. So like center. But if data is non-normal, sorry, then you don't have a choice. Well, the only option you have is median, no choices. The big question arises here. Well, how do I know whether data is normal? Because bottom line, if data is normal, I use average. Data is non-normal, I use median. How do I know data is normal or non-normal? I can't check every single value. There's no way I can go and check every single value. Okay, there's a high value, low value. I may be dealing with 100 data points, maybe dealing with 1,000 data points, maybe 10,000 data points. How do I know whether data is normal or not? I can't check every single value. So we need a statistical test here. So there's nothing we can do about it. There is a statistical test which is supposed to be used, and the Excel doesn't have that formula right now. There's no, like we have average formula and all that. We can't do that in Excel as of now. You will be required to use the statistical tools like Anderson. The name of test is Anderson-Darling normality test. When you perform this test, it will give you something called p-value. And what is p-value? It's a probability value. We will discuss this in detail because this is a part of analyze phase. When you go to the schedule, you can see measure analyze phase. The topic is p-value. We'll do a detailed discussion about it. But in a nutshell, every statistical test that you perform will give you p-value. And when you get a p-value, if your p-value is less than 0.05, you'll say there is statistical evidence, there is some issue with the data or irregularity with data is non-normal. Whenever p-value is less than 0.05, we'll say non-normal, use median. And if you perform the test and you find the p-value is greater or even equal to 0.05, then you say, well, that data is normal. Let's use mean. So I have to, before I start my statistical testing, I have to first find out whether data is normal or not. So you have to perform this statistical test, know whether data is normal or non-normal. If normal, use average, non-normal, use median. So let's kind of try this out. This is the data I have. I'm going to use Minitab, and I will be checking whether this data is normal or not. So I go and paste this data. I go to option of this. We'll anyway just cover all those elements in more greater detail as we move forward. I have to check this average handling time. So there's a term called confidence level, 95. This is, well, we have to understand. Without this, we will not be able to move forward. Not right now, but yeah, in the same statistics portion right now, we'll be covering this, and in future talk, like in most likely next week, we'll be covering up, because it has to be understood. Everything is based on it, but ideally this is default. And honestly, we don't change it. Can we change it? Yes. Do we change it? No. But we got to understand what do you mean by that. But let's keep it as a default. We'll definitely have to understand. Without this, nothing is possible. So we'll learn about it. NHS, let's click OK. This has gone and edited this chart in every possible way. We got every possible detail available about this data. Now, Anderson-Darling normality test results are available. I look at a p-value, and this p-value is 0.587. What do you say, normal or non-normal, based on p-value? Perfect. Yes, this is more than 0.05. If your p-value is more than 0.05, I'll say normal data. I will be using mean. And where is mean? Here is mean. Average is already there. Don't have to go anywhere else. Hypothetically, if my p-value, forget about this, if my p-value is 0.023, what would you say? Normal, non-normal? If in case your p-value is 0.023, non-normal. In that case, I will not use average. Average will be wrong in that case. I will not use, because this p-value is less than 0.05. I'll say, no, sorry, this is less than 0.05. I'll say it's non-normal. So I can't use average. I will not use average. No problem. I have median also already. Median will be calculated in that case. No hassles. We will go and calculate the median. So look at your data and look at whether data is normal or non-normal based on p-value, and decide whether you'll go with average or you go with median. So everything is available. One test that you do for normality, here, you will get all your information. And yes, we'll come back and check other details also. For now, we just checked normal or non-normal. And let's see some more. Let's at least try out some more. Let me just copy paste this data here. CSAT score. Let's copy this one. How about this? Normal or non-normal? Thank you. Yes, that's absolutely non-normal. And you will be using the median of the data. Median of the data, average will be wrong. Simple job. Go and pick up the test, perform the test, find out whether data is normal or non-normal. According, so my first test will always be normality, because that decides whether I will be looking at average or I'll be looking at median. So these are two tests we do. Apart from that is one more method for central tendency. The objective is still measure the central.
There's a question, we can only use these tests, we can apply these tests only by Minitab only.
Okay, so there are tools. Well, so there are various statistical tools available in the market. Minitab, see, by default, Excel doesn't have the plugin here. Doesn't provide you like we can calculate average. There are a lot of tools which can be substitution to Minitab. But again, primarily Minitab is used for Six Sigma, but there are a lot of other tools available in market, like there are cheaper versions, and again, but there are statistical plugins. I can show it to you. I'll like this is one which is very much used in industries. Very like Minitab is very expensive, but corporates world, corporate needs people with Minitab knowledge. Having said that, corporates would,
I know one version that is SPSS. I think that also can calculate the p-value.
SPSS will also do the job, but it's pain. Like, so if you worked on SPSS, try out Minitab, you will not touch SPSS ever. It's like, I have done Six Sigma training on SPSS also. And if you touch Minitab, you will never touch anything else. Honestly, this is the addictive, absolutely addictive. But again, yeah, SPSS can be like, you can use, see, it's a statistical tool. But again, there are other tools also in the market. So if I talk about the cheapest version, which is there, and it's a paid version, by the way, this one, Sigma Excel is the cheapest paid version, and it's meant for Six Sigma. And it's cheapest, and it's a lifetime version. Like for Minitab, for SPSS, you have to have an annual subscription fee. per person. It's very expensive. Sigma Excel is an Excel-based plugin. So it gets plugged in with Excel. It does exactly what Minitab does. Copy of what is done in Minitab. I've uninstalled. I've just changed my laptop and all. So I have to install, like I have the license. You have a 30 days trial version of Sigma Excel. Please hold on, but because it's also 30 days trial version. Like Minitab, you have 30 days. So if you need to understand, you like say at least learn something so that you can utilize and become an expert. If you work on Minitab, you can work on Sigma Excel also. It's copy, absolute copy, and it's very cheap. And best part is Sigma Excel is a lifetime license. And if you go and check this out, so there are a lot of options. But again, since we are dealing with Sigma Minitab, it's a very talk about what is written on the website is $299 for lifetime license per person. Again, you have your license lifetime well valid, and again, this can be further discounted. You can talk to them if somebody wants to take it as a career option, and you can definitely have one for you, or at least your company can easily $299 for lifetime license is not a big deal. And again, this is negotiable, so we can check with them. But I've seen corporates, so I do training for corporates. I'll say 99% of the time, corporates will go for Minitab because that's the de facto version. Six Sigma, you need to know Minitab by default. 1% of those companies will say like, no, that's too expensive. So then you will the second best option is Sigma Excel if it comes to Six Sigma. This is absolutely incredible. I've used it for corporate trainings. I've conducted projects with this one. It is absolutely incredible copy of Minitab. So I can, like next time when you do, probably I would have activated it because I just changed my laptop and all. So I did not install it, but I just have to plug in my license and I'll be able to use. I will be able to see new tabs here, like Sigma Excel. It is absolute copy of Minitab. So for now, again, we'll go with what is there in the Minitab part. But again, it's a good one. It's a good one. Sigma Excel is any given day, I would say personal choice will be Sigma Excel. Well, Minitab is definitely my love, but again, it is definitely Sigma Excel second best any given day. SPS is good, but again, if you use Minitab, trust, you will not put your hands on SPSS. It's pain to work on SPSS. Coding and everything is done for every single variable. So people who have used Sigma, like SPSS, like if I copy and paste this data simply if you do that on SPSS, do you have to inform SPSS about every single variable? This is text and all that. Do you have to code, right? I do recall because I've stopped using SPSS. For every single column, you have to tell what kind of data is it. I hope we do that, right? Every single variable has coded.
Yes.
It automatically understands it. Let's just paste the data. Work like copy, paste. C1, all numbers. C2T, text. Automatically understand. Text, alphanumeric text. See, whenever you see a number, it will be text automatically. See, this is all numbers C6. And like nothing has to be done. There's no plugin. So if I put in date here, if I put date, if I put it like this, 02052024, valid number. Okay, I have got like then 2/2 of what is, like let's say what is date format here, but I'm not sure. May 2024. Okay, let's say numeric version. Let's kind of keep it this way. What date? Like I can say. Let's say May 5th. I'm not sure what is the format they're using for this one. It can become T for text. I guess D also comes in date. For date, like say, I guess this is 05. I'm not sure what is the format here. 05. Oh yeah, now this will become a date. This is the word, I guess. Okay, not here, but here. Let's say, because I've coded it there. Look at this date. Automatically understands. It's a date. So it is pretty, and you start seeing whatever we can do with Minitab. Minitab is absolutely no. So when you work on Minitab, you don't need a training to work on Sigma Excel. It's absolutely copy. So Minitab does the change. You see some changes coming in Sigma Excel also. They always continue. That is pretty good. Do practice, learn Minitab, because that's the need of the hour. Corporate needs Minitab. People, because this is expensive training. Minitab is more expensive training than Six Sigma training, actually. When you conduct training, they're expensive ones. So all in all, you have got this test. You will be able to understand to kind of deal with it. At Minitab, anything, Minitab has absolutely, like, it is taken it to new levels, and the current version of Minitab is very, very good. Well, if you go and search and like install the trial version, you also get to experience. But hold on right now, because you will need more time for that. Get some, because every day will be valuable for you to practice and get better. So hold on to that. We don't need, let's learn some before we install Minitab. Third option is mode. Mode is the third option for central tendency, finding the center of the data, mode. Now, what is mode? Most repetitive value, like, so I'll say most frequent value in the data set is mode. Let's see. We have a data set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No repetition, right? No mode. We've got same data set and we've got 3. 3 is repeating twice, highest repetitive number. 3 is the mode. Same data with the, say, 5 also. I have 3 and 5, both are repeating 2 times. 3 and 5 are mode. So you may not have any mode. You may have a single mode. You may have multiple mode if there is a tie, joint, like same number, like 2 times is 2 times both. So we have a common tie here. So we'll call them as mode. So mode can be multiple. Where do I use mode? Because data is either normal or data is either non-normal. So either you go with average or you go with median. You're going to use mode when the data is categorical. There's no mathematical operation you can do here. So categorical data, binary data. Can you do maths with this mathematical operation? Yes, no. Pass, fail. Can you do anything with this? No. No mathematical operation possible. You can't do anything with this. When you talk about ordinal data, can you do maths with excellent, good, average, bad? No, I can't do that. So there you don't have an option. You have to go with mode. Nominal data like red, blue, green, yellow. Can't do anything about this. So then you need a mode as an option. Mode is most frequent value. So globally, whenever elections happen, in every election, the party which wins the maximum number of votes is basically the mode, and that's the winner. Like, it's always simple. Like, say we have a group of people sitting here. We call, what's your favorite color? Somebody says like red. Somebody says blue. Another person says blue. Somebody says I like white. Another white. One more blue, lower. Then we have people who come for black, and God knows where we have got one more person saying black. And then we have got person saying blue. And let's say that's all. Now, finally, we see that 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 people said blue. Majority favors blue. Okay, so blue is the mode of the group. Well, blue is mode. And in this case, simple logic is majority wins. So whenever you have more like categorical data, you have no option other than to use mode. So mode is going to be the frequency of the data set that we're dealing with. So its most frequent value in the data set will be considered as a mode. So 3 ways to find the central tendency of data: mean, median, and mode. Now, if it's okay with everyone, please quickly confirm so we can move on. Okay, well, let's then talk about this. We've got manager A, and we have got manager B, 2 managers. And their team members, some sales guys, so their sales performances are there. Let's just 10,000, 100, 200, 800, say 1,500, and let's say 2,000, 200, and let's 1,800 also. And this is, say, sales performance of first manager. Let's take sum and average here. Let's take sum of total sales done managed by manager A's team, and average of this manager A's team. Just hypothetically, just adding this, and let's copy paste for the second manager. Okay. Let's create it here. Say 2,500. Say we got 1,800. We got, say, 3,500. We got 1,500. We got, say, 2,000. 2,000. 1,000. And what is this left over? Say 2,300. Like 2,300, I guess. Yep, same. Okay, let's see. Well, so we look at it. Average doesn't tell you the complete picture. Looking like, if I go with the average, it tells me both are same. Average tells me there is no difference. Do we see a difference? Yes, big difference. Who is the best manager, A or B? Better manager, A or B? Everyone says B, yeah, but average doesn't differentiate. Average doesn't tell us that. Average tells you both are same. We'll choose anyone. There's no difference. No, there is a big, big difference. This guy is very consistent. This guy is unpredictable, very, very bad and very high unpredictable. Like, so when I talk about average, the central tendency is half picture, half analysis, and half analysis, very dangerous. We should avoid getting into that trap. So second part of analysis to complete the picture. So never look at one side of the coin. The other side of the coin has to be checked, which is what we try to study here is measure of variation. So we are trying to find out the variation. We do not want variation in the process. It's a bad thing to happen. So here we want to find out in central tendency, we want to know where is the center. Here we want to know like how far is the data from the center. We want to know how scattered the data is, how inconsistent the data is. Like on an average, how much is the variation? All we want to understand this side, because it does in the central tendency, we want to know where is the center. Here is all about how consistent or inconsistent data is. And technically, we want less of this. Do we want data far from center? No, we want data close to center. So we want less of it. Do we want data scattered? No. We want data close to center, compact, less of it. Do we want inconsistency? No, less of it. Do we need average variation? Less of it. Less variation is a bad thing. You don't want variation, you want consistency. This guy is more consistent, more reliable. This is high variation. I don't want this one. So this area is about measure of how bad we are, not about how good we are, how bad we are. That's what we are trying to assess here. And well, why manager B is better? Because of the consistency. Look at the consistency performance. Consistency. This guy is more, well, this guy is, this one person is helping everyone. This guy is gone and this manager A will fall in rock bottom. This guy, one guy is able to manage the entire process performance. It looks good because of this one guy, only 10,000. It's pulling everyone. Look at his 100, 200. So this guy is more consistent, reliable. Variation is less. This guy's got high unpredictability. Very unpredictable thing. 110,000. Well, that's I don't want that. Nobody wants that kind of performance. Variation is a bad thing. And like anyone remembers the definition of Six Sigma, please, if you can help me. Remember the Six Sigma definition we talked about. Please, if you can share. What did we discuss? Variation, the definition of Six Sigma, by the way. If you recall, what was the definition we talked about? Anyone? We discussed about this definition.
The accuracy of the production is 99.999967.
That is the performance. But the definition is, statistical approach to reduce variation in the process. It's the problem with the variation. It's what kills the process. Technically, that's what we want to do. Six Sigma is not trying to target your average. Six Sigma has a problem with variation. And that's what it does. Reduces variation. This is what is killing the process. Process will not die because average. Process will die because of variation. That's what Six Sigma does. Impacts the variation, reduces the variation because it's about how bad we are. So this number, anything we calculate here, lesser is better. Lesser is better because variation is a bad thing. So like we have mean, median, mode, there are three ways to measure how bad we are. Range, variance, and standard deviation. Thumb rule is standard deviation. Standard deviation is the standard. Technically, when we talk about anyone says variation study, standard deviation. Sigma level calculation will happen because of standard deviation. When you talk about statistical testing, will happen because thumb rule is standard deviation. Technically, what is that? We'll get into the details. It's average variation in the data is called standard deviation. This is what we want to find in a nutshell. On an average, how much is the variation? That is what we call as standard deviation. Well, let's talk about range first. Difference between maximum and minimum value. Well, that's what we call as range. We don't have a direct formula for range till date in Excel. So we have to do maximum, minimum, and then difference. So maximum, minimum, and the range will be difference. So let's say use the formula max. Max for maximum value in this data, this is the maximum value. Min for minimum value in the data, we find the minimum value here. We go and pick up minimum. And maximum minus minimum will give me the range of this data, which is 9,900. This is, guys, insane. Has a variation from 100 goes to 10,000. Highly unpredictable. A lot of variation. This guy has a lot less variation. Ranges between 1,000 and 3,500. So the inconsistency is very less, more predictable. Lesser is better any given day. More compact, more consistent data is better. More predictable it is. This is unpredictable. This guy will make me cry technically, because when I really want this guy can give me 100 only. So this is very unpredictable, and we don't want that. So range is a measure of difference between the minimum and the maximum value. Variance is called average of squared distance of each data point from mean. That's what we mean by variance. And we'll see how to do that. Basically, how do we get standard deviation? We can't get standard deviation directly. It's a square root of variance is equal to standard deviation. For you to calculate standard deviation, you have to calculate the variance first, which we have here. When you calculate the variance, you simply take the square root of that and you will get the standard deviation. Let's see how it's done. Well, you will not be required to do this manual calculation ever, but again, good to know. Well, practically. So let's kind of do this, because you will have the formulas. You can apply the formulas, say sample, variance, and standard deviation. Let's kind of do that. Let's see some image, just to get some image here. Well, we got it. That's what I needed. So let's scroll this one for a moment. Let's take a snippet of that so I can post that in your. Okay, that's enough. Give me 1 quick second. Snipping tool. Let me just get this snippet. Sample variance, sample standard deviation, and we're done. We put with this. Let me copy and paste this in your notes. Okay, we've got. Let's paste it. Quick one. Let's try to relate with what does it tell us? What does the formula tells you the difference between the sample variance and the sample standard deviation here? What is the difference between these two formulas? Can anyone tell me the difference? Whatever difference we are seeing here, the formula is given for standard deviation. The formula is given for sample variance. Both are given. What difference do you see in both of them? Anyone wants to pitch in? What is the difference between? Absolutely, yes, John. Thank you. The only difference is the square root, the root. That's it. Nothing else. It's exactly copy. So first, look at this. This value. This is the formula. And all you do is take a square root of that, and that becomes standard deviation. So for you to calculate standard deviation, you need to calculate this and just take a square root. Job done. Simple. And honestly, let's try to do this calculation in a moment. In a fraction of a second, we can get this job done. Pretty simple. What is done here? Let's see. I will kind of create a small data set. Data. So data is, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's keep this. That's my data set. I want to calculate the average variation in the standard deviation I want to calculate. And for that, I need to know variance also. So what is this? Is the data is X. X is what I'm writing. The X is the data point. And X bar means average. Average of data is X bar. So what is the average of this data? Let's say I'm going to follow the formula the way it's written. So the average of this data is 5.5. So let's write in 5.5. Just going to follow the way the formula is written. So it says X means the data, minus X bar means average. So I'll do X minus X bar. Let me do X minus X bar. Bar is the line on top of it. So I have to do X minus X bar. So I'm doing all X minus X bar. X is the data minus the average, which is average. So we do X minus X bar. Then the formula says all X minus X bar is power 2. So let's do power 2 also. I'm just going to follow the formula the way it says X minus X bar, power 2. And you don't have to do all anyway, anytime this one, but good to know. Power 2. So I'm doing power 2. Then it says summation. This is sum. So sum of all this xi, X minus X bar, power 2, sum of all this X minus X bar. That's what it says. And it says divided by n minus 1. n minus 1. That's the formula. I'm just going to use this formula here. So sum of all these xi minus x bar power to all of these we have done. Take sum of all of that. We have done taken sum of all of these values. And n minus 1. N is the total number of samples. We've got total of 10. So I'll do 10 minus 1, and that will be taken as 9. So I'll divide by 9 here. If I do this formula the way it's written, I'm just following the formula, reading it, doing the job, whatever is written here. This is what we call as variance of the data. Now, if I want to calculate standard deviation, what we have to do is simply take a square root. So do SQRT for square root. Square root of what? This value, square root of variance will give me the standard deviation. This is what we get. That's it. It's as simple as that. You have to simply follow the formula, you get your answer. But honestly, who does all that? Well, nobody wants to do this. Why? Because you've got formulas inbuilt. Well, let's have a look at it. We have a formula for variance. I can use this formula equal to var.s and then use the data set. Whatever do you have data set, that'll give you variance. Or you can simply use var and the data set. You want to use .s for sample or not? Your choice. Doesn't matter. Let's do that. var.s, I'm going to use .s for sample, and I pick up this data. This is the data, variance of this data. Select this data. That's it, done. Look at this, same value. It's Excel. In the Excel, it's doing the same maths we did right now to get this value. It's doing same activities to give you same value. Look at this. We manually calculate this value. It's doing same maths in the backend. Or you simply use VAR. Doesn't matter. Simply VAR for variance. It's doing exactly same maths. Doesn't matter whether you want to use .s or not. Your decision. You will get the same answer. Same for standard deviation also. So formula is STDEV.S for standard deviation, sample and data set. Or you can simply use STDEV, which will do the job, and the data. That's it. Use STDEV.S, standard deviation of the sample data, which is right here. Select the data, job done. It's doing exactly what you did. Calculated variance, took a square root. Or you do STDEV simply. That's it, done. Your choice. You want to use .s. I never use .s somehow, but that's my choice. But so you decide what you want. It's doing exactly the same maths in the backend to give you the numbers. So do we have to do all this? Primarily, no. But honestly, good to know how it gets calculated. This is the formula. But we have formulas. Just use the formula. You get to know what's the value. Where do we use it? What is the application? That's what we will be learning in the measure phase activities. It will be all applied. Here, the objective is to know how to calculate it, so that the application will start from the measure phase, analyze. All is about application. So within the statistics part also, there will be topic which we'll call normal distribution. There, this will be applied definitely, and we'll be able to understand the application of it. But again, for now, we're just trying to have the basic elements understood here, just how to calculate it. If you're using Minitab, do you have to do anything of this? No. Look at your data. When you did normality test, did you not get everything here? When you did normality test, you get range, not directly like your maximum, minimum is given. Do maximum minus minimum. Do you get standard deviation? Yes. Do you get variance? Yes. You don't have to do anything. Just one testing of normality gives everything what you need. So I can do it manually. I can do formula. I can use Minitab. Do whatever you want. Bottom line, I should know how to calculate these things because it will come in handy. It's the basic building blocks for your journey. So primarily, what we looked at is this. If we go back here, we've talked about types of data. And till this point, it's basic fundamentals. And then right after this, everything that we'll cover is application. So all that question, why we learned this, why we learned that, we will start applying. The tools will start from here. So where do we apply this logics that we've learned? Where does it come into picture? Box plot is an application. It's an analysis tool. So now we'll start applying whatever we learned. The normal distribution is going to be the logic. Where do we use it? Everything will come into picture. Again, that's for next week. We'll be able to cover. But for now, this is what we covered, and pretty much, I hope it's okay and clear with everyone. How do we calculate all that? Calculation-wise, is it clear and okay with everyone? Let's park it here. I guess that will be fine then. So let me share this file, like what we have worked on right now, and let's connect next week and take it up from here. I hope that will be fine with everyone. In case you come across anything, you need more clarity, please pitch in. I will start. So by the way, I will be sharing next week. I will start sharing, like when we meet, practice test. So along with this, you can start doing your practice tests also, mock tests. There's some Google Forms I have created, so you can do practice tests for your like lean, your define phase. Or let me do one thing. Let give me another 10 minutes or so. When I share, please go to the page when